Hey everybody, welcome back to Panilla and JJ. I'm Jade, and again, Joe here with me from Imperial Fist. We are
Hey.
doing one of our last check-ins on our big first project we did, which was starting 4 accounts free to play, as you know, and testing different leveling strategies to get some nice comparative data. Um, if you watched the last video, or if you didn't, you know that the biggest news we found was that Starflame Rush, like saving every single diamond you have, and once you get to 1420, having a gluttony of pulls is not only fun, but it's effective. Joe talked about that in the last video, and we're most excited about that because it really did kind of has gone against kind of the conventional thought process of free to play players leveling, which is stay away from Temple and Abyss units because they're considered more of a paying person's unit. So now we know that that's actually not true. If you want to pick a hyper carry, especially like Skogul or possibly Mist as a free to play player, it's actually almost better. It's actually better in a lot of ways just to do that Starflame because you get a lot of resources. And speaking of Starflame Rush, Joe's playing it right now, and Joe's going to catch us up on where the account is.
Yeah, so I am really excited to kind of show this off. It has been working extremely well. I am last time I was in the 40s, I'm up to 35th on the server, which isn't, shockingly impressive, but we did not start this early on in the server's life. And also I'm a free to play account. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing there's more than 35 people who are paying in any given server. So I think being 35 in journey progress is pretty impressive. I'm pretty happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, on the things that I like about this account one is just journey progress has been pretty smooth. Or I guess I shouldn't say smooth. I would say it's spiky. I will struggle for a few days on a single level, and then I will clear that level, and then I'll jump like 20 stages. And the big thing about that is just the specific weaknesses of my unit of choice. Skogul is doing everything for me. No one else is doing anything. Um, I mean, and that's not entirely true, but everyone else is there to support Skogul.
Yeah.
Um, so Skogul, especially before endgame, has a big weakness against magic users and against disruption. Um, so like I will face really frustrating stages against like Aurora specifically is the one that I've been noticing where
Mm.
inevitably I will get locked down while I'm in midair every single time.
Oh no.
So it will become these like really dumb games of like I either need to get off of auto and just let myself get locked down and then turn auto back on so that she'll jump when she comes back, or
Mm.
like weird attack speed mind game things to try to get the ult off before getting locked down. Um, the other thing that I found that's extremely annoying is against the bow artifact, the
Mm.
wind
Yeah.
knockup happens to be timed perfectly with my alt to wait to burn Skogul alt, which is
Mm.
just extremely frustrating.
Yeah.
This guy whose name I don't remember with the spike balls will also knock Skogul back
Oh
in the
yeah.
middle of an alt. So
Yeah.
like it is a very like it is kind of a very finicky and spiky kind of progress where like generally how I win is I ult twice and anyone who's scary is dead.
Mm-hmm.
So like you see I'm doing about 50% damage. And if you saw at the beginning, like I wasn't even close to winning this fight
Yeah.
when I tried 3 minutes ago. That time it looked trivial, and that's just the power of Skogul doing all of this damage, all of the healing from Delilah's lifesteal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Molly is giving health and defense, and Katarina is giving magic defense since magic units are my big weakness.
Yep.
Um, but that's kind of how it's going. Another thing I'm really liking is because my carry is an abyss unit, I don't really care about what faction layout anyone else is. So I'm just pushing up the people I have, and specifically people who are easy to get, like Delilah and Katarina and Molly. So like I'm super far ahead in terms of hero advancement than like I was
Mm-hmm.
on my main account at this point because my main account I was all in on council units.
Mm-hmm.
So I was really struggling to get fodder. I'm having no issues with fodder. I will have more than enough.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, I just
so
noticed your
that
Delilah's.
Yeah,
That's
two
yours,
stars.
right?
Yeah.
That's not a borrowed unit. That's a 2-star Mythic Delilah.
So I
Nice.
mean that's another. So I maybe have a reputation of getting a little lucky. So I got two Delilahs this week from the normal summons because I did 300 summons on that
Yeah,
banner.
which makes
Um,
sense.
but I also got two more just pulling tickets. Um, I got two more Delilahs because
Wish list.
she's on my wish list.
Yeah.
So I got a little extra lucky. Like I've gotten one Yorimasa total, and I've gotten like six Delilahs or something ridiculous.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's
That's pretty
felt good.
lucky. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
pretty
it's
lucky.
nice to get Delilah to use with your Skogul as the carry because you're getting all that lifesteal and Delilah's doing some damage because they're pretty strong because they're Mythic 2-star.
It is. But I mean, if I only had four copies, she'd still be doing good, and I think that's extremely reasonable to expect from this stage in the game. Like her damage is like a fifth that of Skogul, so it's not like huge.
Mm-hmm.
Um but yeah, so I think those were kind of the main things I wanted to say. PvP is going pretty well too. I'm kind of middle ranks. Challenger, I'm up to 48. I've had a lot of defensive wins just because people are surprised by how powerful my compositions are. So that's always fun. It
Yeah.
always feels good to get defensive wins in Commanders Wars.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, so, last thing I want to do before I pass it off to you and your Draconia account is I'm just gonna do another 10 pull. I'm addicted to this now. After I did that video, like
Yeah.
even on my main account, I'm like, I have 5K diamonds. I can do a 10 pull on
Yeah, I
Starflame.
got
Like
this shit.
I can hit that 30K again. Like
Easy. It'll
I
happen. It's basically
it'll
guaranteed,
happen.
right?
It's basically guaranteed. Like it's just gotta happen. Like
Oh, it's so funny.
so yeah, it's a problem. Well, okay, just get lucky, man. Just get
Did you just
lucky
get
like
another
me.
skull? Oh my god.
I did get another Skogul. I'm like I was maybe halfway through to pity. So yeah, my main recommendation is don't play smart. Get lucky like me. You'll never have a
Yeah.
problem.
Because that's actually,
Um,
yeah,
so
that's
so
funny.
that's actually even more insane than you realize because so now
Yeah.
let me just switch to Abyss right
Oh
quick.
my, yeah.
Let me go ahead and
Yep.
merge these two.
What we have
and
here.
then
The
and then
insane
let's go
luck.
ahead and merge these. So yeah, I haven't spent a dime on this account. I have a mythic
Mythic
Skogul. That
Skogul.
feels really good.
And
So
you're
and this is
at stage
it's at this
17. Yeah.
point it's at this point that I need to start giving asterisks where like I got very lucky
Hmm.
to get mythic. You would be unlucky to just be at legend at this point.
Yeah.
I'm almost at 3. Everything is going into getting
Right. Yeah.
potential 30.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're almost perfect.
Um
Nice. Wow. Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
Um
Yeah. It's amazing.
So, so Mythic is very lucky. You don't need to be as lucky as me to have a legend, and I think this strat works just fine even at legend. You
Hmm.
just maybe won't be as explosive as this was. You might,
Right.
care more about the damage of your Anna or your
Hmm.
Delilah or your other people.
And
Um,
that's one thing that we can say very easily with a game that has as many systems and is as deep as Panilla Saga. One thing that we like about it, and that is very true, is that there is no cut and dried always do this in this situation because every account has like different things going on in the background as far as like what artifact levels they got, what what sort of runes they're using. you know, it's always best to take a look at your account and say what will be better for me than worry about just blindly following like a cookie cutter, like, oh, do the top 20 units on the tier list as your mains. Like that can hurt your progress. And we're going to do videos and talk about that more, but just in general, look at your account, look at what you're doing, and if you have questions, ask in the official Discord. You can ping Joe or I. We're happy to kind of give our insight onto why your team may or may not be working, because everyone's going to be slightly different. Like Skogul's a great unit, but obviously, like we said, like getting really good lucky on Delilah pulls is going to make Skogul look way better. And so if you're trying this strategy and you're not getting Delilahs, it's good. It's a good at that point to say, okay, do I want to try and push my Skogul to like potential 30 now, or should I wait and make sure my progress is being stable, and like use a different combo? feel free to ping us and ask us that type of stuff because we love answering those questions. Like it's interesting to us to see if other people try this. So I just wanted to say that really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think uh, a fun thing about building like this is that you never have to like your team can be extremely mix and match. Like,
Hmm.
you know, right now I'm facing absolutely no scary magic damage, lol, Oboro. So maybe Katarina doesn't do anything, and I put an Ayano, and now my melee does more damage, and I
Yeah.
have an even more absurd front line.
Hmm.
Um, and that's I'm you don't just need to react to what's good in a stage, but also, you know, what are you getting in your polls, where are
Hmm.
you getting lucky, because
Yeah.
inevitably, like, you'll get lucky in some places, you'll get unlucky other places, um
Hmm.
and just kind of lean into whatever makes sense.
This is gonna be a close one. This Oswald is giving you
Yeah.
a little bit of trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I needed that. If that jump went down, like, I
You
maybe
might
I
have
could have
killed
gotten
three
it,
of them
but
and been fine. Yeah, they were all almost dead. So yeah, and that's Skogul. Like having dodge as your backbone is very RNG, but it can feel bad when you lose a fight because of it. But that's like Joe said, and I agree with. Mechanics that use RNG in Panilla Saga are good because there's no stamina. You can just try a fight a few times until the RNG goes your way, and you're getting the benefit of it as though it went your way from the start. You don't lose anything by having to try a few times,
I will
except for a little
clarify
bit of time. But
I will clarify what you said there, and
oh
it
yeah,
is good for the player. It is
too.
not necessarily either good for the health of the game or good for the fun of the game,
Yeah,
but it is in the player's benefit to have more RNG mechanics because it costs you nothing to retry missions.
yeah. That is a good point. I do think that there is enough things that aren't RNG that help balance that out. I will say because I think if it was way too RNG, I wouldn't like the game. I feel like I understand what when I like how my RNG affects me in the game, and I think that's you're right. That's an important part of it. Like it's not. It wouldn't be good if everything was just RNG.
Yeah.
It's just something to remember. So good. That's a good clarification. Thank you. So yeah.
So how's Draconia doing?
So Draconia, as we've seen, and I'm actually starting to think that your resources from Starflame were a bigger deal than we kind of initially put on because I've actually been pushing and I'm still in chapter 14. I haven't even actually got to 1420 yet. I haven't been able to push my journey the last couple days, but I did spend, several hours pushing journey in the last since the last time we did video. Like I actually had time to put into it. Um and I did make quite a significant bit of progress, but I'm still pretty far behind you. And I will say I don't think that is there's some of that's due to me not having being sick and playing a little bit less at the start, but I do also think that just the amount of resources you got from your Starflame pulls are are some of that difference because I have pulled two limited characters on this account, and spending those diamonds, you don't get the same amount of resources that I would if I had spent those diamonds in Starflame. And I do actually think that there is some of that is that playtime and some of that is that resource, but beyond that, Draconia is going well. I still am enjoying playing the account. I am I am really starting to like Amare more and more the more I use her. I am very glad I pulled for her on this account. She just seems really good in PvE modes, in PvP modes. Like she does a lot, and so I've been excited. The big thing I'm doing right now, which I thought would be fun to do on the video, is I'm doing Blood Valley Dark Abyss, which we were actually discussing is actually kind of one of the harder Spire of times when you get to it because it has this weird mechanic where you don't get one of the buff choices every time you win a fight. There's just a static amount of them on the map. And then you get this scroll that what it does is it gives you every time you win a fight, you get one hero that goes into your hero pool. So I've got like three extra Ingrids, like a bunch of like San Ns. These are all from fights I've won. And so the idea is that you're supposed to use fodder on these harder fights, but it doesn't really work that well. But I think I'm finally strong enough to get this rune, and so uh, we're gonna jump in and see how this goes. I think I'm not quite to the point where I'm ready to just throw my main team in that I'm using. So what I'm gonna do is make a fodder team really quick here and see if I can't get some damage, and then set up my main team to get a win. Um, so what I'm gonna do is take a look at who I have laying around. Whoops, I held down my mouse cursor. And I think I'm going to. I'm not gonna. I could use this Anna, but if I do and they die, I can't. I don't think I can use Ingrid anymore. I think you can only use one. loaned unit, and this Ingrid is a big part of my strategy for this. So, I think what I'm gonna do is put in this. Yeah, I'm actually gonna put in this girl because I've actually been. I don't think she's a good unit, but she does do one thing, which is she can delay an ult. She'll knock back a character and prevent them from ulting on time, which is can
Oh
actually
yeah.
be a pretty big difference. So I'm gonna try her here. I'm also gonna throw in an Ingrid, and his ult is pretty good to start with. And then I think I'm just gonna throw in this Andri, kind of hopefully give me some healing that matters. Um,
The risk with this is if your team is too weak, if your fodder team is too weak, all you're doing is charging their energy.
yeah, true. And so one thing you can do in Spire of Time though, which I don't know if everybody else knows, if you stop the fight, you can just exit out of it. You don't
Yeah.
have to be okay with the results. Like, but basically, what we want to see is if I'm going to do any significant damage with this team. Like, even having some of them a little bit low is going to be good for me. Which it looks like we're getting villages a little bit low. We're doing some stuff here. Just kind of like trying to watch and make sure that I don't just quickly lose and then not. Okay, so yeah, so they're not a good ult charge. They're low. I'm just gonna let this fight finish. I think this is gonna be enough for me to beat this fight. Like this Ingrid's about to die, but they actually lost one and they're not like all set up to ult.
Nice. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
this is gonna be fine. So now I can go back to my main team, um, which to be safe, I'm gonna actually change it up. Nah, I should be fine actually because yeah, I can go piano, you, then what I'm using for this is I had this Ingrid I borrowed who's very strong, and I got lucky. Not only did I have her, I got double of the buff that the council ones. So I have 20% cooldown and 20 energy per second, and then I also have the other one which is 10 or 15. And to my knowledge, these stack. It every time I kind of like see if I can figure it out. It feels like they just stack when you get them. Because like
I agree.
right now, my these two council units, they're ulting like twice as fast as the other ones, which is not normal. So I think we're going to be fine here. I'm happy with how this is laid out. It's actually to me a really big bonus that the Hydra was the one to die, because then I don't,
Oh,
it's not going to hurt me that much. Nobody's getting pulled, right? I think it wouldn't
nice.
matter. I think I'm strong enough right now just to win this fight really easily, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this backline setup has been just crushing this Spire of Time. Having AoE stun, two huge
Wow,
AoE damage ults. It's just
that was
yep,
crazy.
yep.
Like
You
even with
just
the one
win.
down, that was still like
You just win. Yeah,
trivial.
you
I'm like,
saw like the difference in power, right? So cool.
yeah. Well,
We have our
and
green
I don't
rune.
know if more experienced people might not even remember this Spire of Time, but it's a huge pain. These two fights were brutal
Mm-hmm.
to start with.
And now we have a green rune we can give to someone. Oh, I didn't even put the runes correctly when I fought that last one. So, just for fun, since this is the very last fight, we can use this stuff to make sure I have all my energy and my HP. This is also a weird one because it's this one's really set up to teach you, I think, to kind of think about what you're doing in these Spires of Times, because this all these keys and everything you don't need to get, and they're just a weird trap to waste your time. Like honestly, they are. You don't need to fight any of these battles. You do not need these keys for anything. Using the keys means you have to fight harder fights. These fights right here are stronger than any other ones except for pretty much the last two really hard ones that you do to get the rune in the last chest. It's such a weird one. I'm kind of having fun showing it on video, like because it's such a weird one. It really is
It is
designed
super
to
weird.
make you really think about what you're doing in these Spire of Time levels, which is cool. I Spire of Time is my favorite part of this game. Like it was what kept me playing right after the initial kind of like getting into it. I was challenging them as early as I could, really learning what was working and what wasn't for me. So I've been a big fan. Okay, so now we get to go in here, and you can see, once again, we're just to be safe, I'm going to use fodder. I don't know, maybe for the video, should I just do it? Because I think we're going
I
to win
think you can just
easily.
do it.
I think we're going to win
I
easily,
think you've got
honestly.
it. I think
Yeah.
I
Let's just
was
do it for
pretty
fun.
impressed with
We'll
that
do it
first
for the
fight.
vine, as the kids say.
They don't say that
Oh, damn
anymore.
it, don't out me like that. Okay, so basically I want to, normally I would put yellow on Amara here, but since I have this massive energy gain, I'm just gonna put yellow on Kaguya, and we're gonna go from here. And this is how I want it. I want her against Bayo again because Bayo actually does a significant amount of damage as the fight goes on, and putting a tanky person in front of him is good. Either that or you want to kill him fast before his like passives kick in. So yeah, look, we just ulted. We're ulting again. Look at this It's just stupid.
That's insane.
Yeah, they have to stack like, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's just silly. Well, I did also
Well,
get the one that gives me 350 energy after the first ult. So I mean that's another part of that. But yeah, so
that's
cool.
fair.
So we win. Okay. So anyways, this account's going well. I'm still having fun playing it. I think it's a very strong, like Draconia is very strong now. So quick hits. I know that took a bit of time to go through and play that. Basically, quick hits on the account is one. Nue I think is better in PvP than in PvE. He really his damage is front loaded. Like the best result for Nui is to have him get his ult off while you also have someone maybe damaging, because he ults like the highest attack character, I think, if I remember. For his energy skill is, oh, he strikes the weakest enemy. So like he can be very useful if you have someone who also hits hard right off the start, like an Oswell. I usually, if I'm using Nue, I put him so he's hitting the same target as Oswell, because Oswell has his skill that makes things take extra damage. Whatever it's called.
It's the
It's
potential,
this,
actually.
yeah, the potential. Sorry, yeah, but I have it on him. Or no, I don't yet. Sorry, he's at 7. I will, but
It's so hard to keep track.
even then his knockup skill does a decent little bit of damage. So I usually put Nue so he's hitting the same target as Oswell. But yeah, so Nue is kind of falling off. He was my carry really early just because I happened to get him. Yorimasa has become my carry. He's so good. He's just awesome. He hits hard. His AoE ult is really good. He has a very Ana-like immunity, as we've said. He just feels like he keeps getting better. I just got my first fodder to get someone to legend, and it wasn't even like a question. It was Yorimasa. I was like, he's my big carry. He does well in boss fights. Like, he's pretty good. And then the other thing I wanted to say really quickly was Amari. Like I said, Amari's been so good that I've just been climbing. And today, somebody finally attacked me. Like this, like I'm actually just my main team is beating teams that are like a couple 100k. Like I wonder. Let's see who I can challenge. Like the Draconia team is very good in PvP. Like this 398 versus 511, I should win this fight. I think, especially now that I have another rune. So
We were talking about this too a little before the call, where
mm-hmm.
um, I think that so for PvP, it
Yeah.
can be a liability to have a full faction team on
Oh yeah, yeah.
defense, because then you can get countered really easily.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think there's actually a good 5 tribes team. So I think a 5 Draconia team is kind of free because the tribes
Mm-hmm.
counter really isn't there. And
True.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
winning this fight
Yeah.
handily. Like that wasn't close. Like
That
you're
wasn't that close. Like it was. It looked a little close, but then Yorimasa's ult went off and took out the rest of the front line, and it was over.
which is probably pretty much the story of how uh,
Mm-hmm.
this team works a lot of the time.
Yep. So, yeah, I was
That's
actually
awesome.
10th. Now I'm 12th. Just because. I mean, I did it. Like I'll drop because like my defense isn't like perfect. Like obviously, but just even being able to climb that high is really cool with just
Yeah.
a 400k power team. Like I'm winning fights that are way above me. So yeah, Draconia is going well. I'm currently trying. I haven't decided what to do with my diamonds. Obviously I spend them on the sand and or the dust, the stardust in the shops when I can. I obviously I'm not interested in this current Tribe Zero for limited. So I've kind of been like debating on what I want to do with diamonds next, and that will probably be part of my next update is going to be diamond, like what I do with the diamonds, and also this is kind of segueing into what we're going to talk about next is, which is going to make this video go a little long. Please bear with us. Is that we, for a couple reasons like time constraints and burnout, we are actually going to drop 2 of the accounts. Basically, Joe's not going to play his Alliance Rolliver account anymore, and I'm not going to play the Ana account anymore. For a couple, but one of the reasons though is that we've kind of seen what we wanted to see from those accounts. And the next update on Draconia is basically also going to, I want to find out at what point running basically 5 or 4 Draconias. Or am I at, what am I even at now? I thought I had, wait, where do you use, oh, there it is, the swap button. Okay, so I still have 4. Yeah, I still have 4 Draconia units in my Sage. I just switched to Molly because I pulled her in my weekly pulls to get her to Legend in my Sage Academy, but I am at the point where I just finally got my first gold fodder, and as you can see, I'm going to need a lot more. And that is what we want to do, is we want to find out right around when that's going to hit, even if you're really hard focusing faction tickets, which I have been and Joe was on his Alliance account. Is that's one thing we're discovering, is we want to know kind of when people can expect that to happen, and we're going to go over ways to mitigate that, and hopefully in the next video is kind of the plan. Hey everybody, Jade here with Panilla JJ, jumping in to say we're going to cut the video off here. We ended up recording long, over 40 minutes, so we're going to cut it in half, and the next video we post will be the closing out of the Ana account and the Alliance account, as we were just talking about. So we will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.